What's the one single most important thought or idea you want the listeners to come away from this conversation with?
Love yourself first,
Love yourself first,
without a doubt, a
without a doubt.
100%. See, one of the mistakes that I made, and this will cut a lot of years of suffering off of people's lives, is I loved other people and didn't love myself. I took care of other people and made other people more important than me. I subscribe to the philosophy that Zig Ziglar preached, and I love Zig Ziglar, but I don't subscribe to this bit anymore. You can get whatever you want if you'll only help enough people get what they want.
Yeah.
Well, if you leave yourself out of your own equation, you're never going to get what you want.
Yeah.
I left myself out of my equation.
Yeah.
Love yourself first, period, end of story.
Boom. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the VisionCast Network, where intention, collaboration, and technology gather in service to humanity. Today's awesome guest is Darshan Shanti. He's a poet and an author. It's good to see you again, Darshan. Welcome.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and it's good to be seen by you.
Yeah. Looks like you're at the beach having a nice time.
You know that I love technology because it creates these beautiful backgrounds, and the beach is one of the best places to be, if you ask me.
Oh, 100%. Just keep sending that warmth this way. It's a little chilly today here in New Mexico.
Well, it's chilly all the time. We're the chili capital of the world, aren't we?
I see how you did that.
Green chili, baby.
He is an author and a poet and a comedian. So, Darshan, give us a little bit about your backstory and how it is that you came to do what it is that you're doing now.
Well, the poetry and all the other stuff all come in to play because of that. I had a really rough childhood.
Okay.
I grew up, I was the kid in school everyone knew and no one liked. I was the misfit who didn't fit in with the misfits.
Okay.
In trouble all the time. In second grade, I was in the principal's office 2 weeks in a row. They had no idea what to do with me. My third grade teacher didn't like me very much. He ignored me. That was a mess. So I created lots of problems because I wanted the attention.
Okay.
Check this out. In fourth grade, I was an outstanding student. And people tell me, "Oh, hey, that's really cool. You were a great student." I'm like, no, I was outstanding in the hall the whole time. And it just continued on, grade after grade after grade. In eighth grade, the seventh grade girls would pick on me. They'd dump my locker out. I'd pick it up. They'd dump it out again. I'd walk down the hall. They'd knock books out of my hand. And ninth grade, went to a whole different area, didn't even know anybody. Problems within a few days. And watch this. I went to 5 high schools in 4 years in 3 cities in 2 states. And
Wow.
there was only one me in common. I had problems in every grade. In 10th grade, my English teacher threw me over his desk.
Wow.
Yeah, that was interesting. And 12th grade, I had a kid crawl under all the desks, punch me, and crawl back. And they actually said to me, I'm not joking, the staff said, well, if you hadn't been sitting there, he wouldn't have hit you.
So, Tarshan, you have experienced a lot of upset.
A lot of upset. Then I joined the military.
Oh boy.
And I was a medic trained to save people's lives.
Okay.
And my own unit voted me most likely to be killed by them. Because they thought they'd be safer off with me dead than alive, even though I'm trained to save their lives. That was what my life was like. And then I'm 21, I get out of the military. I survived, I should say.
Yep.
Start going to college, start learning psychology and start understanding me and the way I work. And then years and years of study and workshops and seminars and everything else went into my history, and I began to pull myself apart. And the more I pulled myself apart, the more I realized I could help other people.
Beautiful.
And so that's what I've done through my writing, my speaking, coaching,
Beautiful.
and even comedy.
Even comedies. Pause there for a moment because there was a lot there, and I love the way you presented it, with humor. There's some good one-liners in there. I appreciate it. Every upset is a setup to heal. So
Yes.
how did you use adversity? What was the benefit? What was the seed of benefit in the adversity that has shaped you into the man that you are today? What would you say that nugget of juicy wisdom was?
I love that question. Nobody's ever asked it that way before. I appreciate that. Um, I got to a point, and again, I just gave you the highlights. I could have spent
Yeah.
a half hour on the story, but
Yeah.
I got to a point where everything was so incredibly, desperately dark, depressed, painful. Like it just wasn't worth it to live that way. And I've always wanted to like live
Yeah.
and and I was barely existing. I mean, my lungs were taking in air and my heart was beating,
Hmm.
and that was it. But I was not living,
You,
and I just got to a point where I just couldn't take it anymore. And there's a very interesting thing that seems to be true for all people, that we're all motivated by avoiding pain or by gaining pleasure.
yeah.
Up until that point, it was easier to stay where I was, even as painful as it was, than whatever of pain I thought I was going to experience, whatever perceived pain I thought I was going to have by changing.
Yeah.
And so when it became too painful to stay where I was, I knew I had to make a change. There's a cute little story about a dog that's laying on its porch and whimpering all day. Are you familiar with the story?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just for the benefit of everybody listening who hasn't heard it, he doesn't get up and he's whimpering and whimpering and whimpering. The owner comes out and finds out he's been laying on a nail.
Yeah.
And we think, why didn't he just get up? Well, because maybe it was harder for him to get up or whatever. And so it was more comfortable for him to deal with the pain that he knew
Yeah.
and less. And then he decided when the pain was too much, he would change and get up.
That is a good story, right? Another way of looking at it is that it sounds like and we won't change until we've either suffered enough, we've had some psychic boredom, life just becomes so boring, or we have an existential crisis, or maybe a combination of all three. We finally
Yeah.
get up and off that nail.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I would say for me, it was definitely all three. I mean, life was not worth living
Yeah.
at that point. It just wasn't. It's not that I was suicidal, but I'm like, what the hell's the point? If this is my life,
Yep.
I don't want this. There's got to be, I see all these other people thriving, and I was surviving at
Yeah.
best.
So let me ask you a question about that, if I may. I'm going to go off script here for a minute. So, did you perceive at that time in your life that you were doing everything you were supposed to do in order to get ahead, but the things you were supposed to do, it's kind of like they were tip stalling at the end of the runway and you'd crash and burn? Is this kind of the experience you were having?
I would say that's very accurate. I was doing what all the gurus said, and I was working incredibly hard and had my head down and making the calls and doing everything and sleeping in my office because I
Yeah.
could get 3 hours sleep if I was lucky, and then just go back at it
Yeah.
again. And the harder I worked, the tighter I got, the worse things became.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
just got further and further behind and further stressed. Oh, you got to buckle down. Oh, you got to grind harder.
Right.
Well, that wasn't true.
That wasn't true, right? Yeah.
No,
And so you got to that point where it was like, enough of this. This is it really worth it?
no,
Yeah. So
no.
was that the internal question? Enough of this? Is this really? I mean, I'm pushing against this door metaphorically that perhaps opens in. I can't get through it. I'm doing what I've been told to do, and it ain't working. So at that point, what happened?
Well, I mean, again, that wasn't just that one. It was a
Yeah,
series of
ongoing, right?
things over a
Ongoing.
long period
Yeah,
of time. But
yeah,
you are absolutely right. After having enough of them and realizing how bad everything was, I finally one of the changes that happened is I finally just said, okay, I don't want this anymore.
yeah,
I don't want the work I was doing. I don't want to do the things to get the business I was doing anymore. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to follow my heart and I'm going to do what my intuition says.
yeah.
As I say in one of my 2,000 plus poems, I follow my intuition until it reaches its fruition.
I like that.
And thank you. And so I gave up. I just said, I remember sitting out on at a restaurant one day outside, and I just said, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
And all of it, whether it was what I was doing, the work I was doing to not just the leadership stuff, but all the marketing and the sales and the
Yeah.
chasing business. I just said, I just don't want this
Yeah.
anymore. And and that was such a relief, I can't even tell you,
Yeah.
because I had been pushing and pushing and pushing
Yeah.
so hard, like trying to push a rope uphill. It doesn't work
Yeah.
too well.
Yeah. I heard a good one the other day. It's kind of like pushing water up a hill.
Same difference.
So you had this intense period of suffering, intense period of extended suffering. You made a decision at some point in time, this has got to stop. I've had enough. I've had enough pain, enough suffering, existential crisis, and I'm bored as heck. And I'm not getting anywhere. I'm getting next to no sleep. I'm doing everything that I was told that I needed to do. I'm just going to surrender.
Exactly. And surrender is the perfect word. Surrender, by the way, to me doesn't give up.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that. It means
Yeah.
to let go.
Let go.
Right. Let
Yeah.
go of the control.
Yeah.
See, I was so busy being in
Yeah.
control that my life was out of control.
Paving the way for transformation.
Yes.
Paving the way for transformation. And so then I would bet you a nickel that there were some things that you started to do in terms of application of your wisdom that you gained over this period of time that made a fundamental shift that perhaps led you into the writing and the poetry and obviously a budding comedy career. So what is it that you're applying in your life now to really benefit yourself and other people with everything that you've learned and gained so far? Because it's a lot. You've got there is no degree for life experience.
That's true. I have a PhD in me.
PhD in you, right on.
Yes. Because I know more about me than anybody else
Yeah.
does. And that's what a PhD is. You know more about a given subject than
Yep.
somebody else. So, and not just a public high school diploma, by the way,
Right.
PhD. Not piled higher and deeper either. No, look, the most valuable lesson I learned, and that's what I began to help everybody with, is I began to love myself. I
Mm,
realized very, very deep down that because of all my experiences, I had a lot of messed up beliefs about myself, about my life, about the world. This is how I was raised, about my experiences in school, my
yep.
experiences at jobs, my experiences with everything taught me to say I was worth less.
Yep.
And some people say that's worthless.
Yep.
And my biggest shift was learning to absolutely realize what a BS lie that is. You know what BS stands for, right?
I think I have a feeling you're going to tell me.
Well, what does BS stand for? You can say it.
Yeah, it stands for bullshit.
No, it stands for belief systems.
System. Gotcha. Yeah, I knew you were gonna, I knew you were gonna, dun, dun,
It's
dun. I knew you were gonna get me there. Right on. Yeah. Belief system was a lot of BS. Right on.
the
Yeah.
whole my belief system was built in BS,
Yeah.
and that was the foundation of which I built my life. So
Yeah.
my building could never stand.
Yeah.
So once I learned to love myself, value, honor, cherish,
Yeah.
respect, like, and honor. I mean, I said honor, but it's full of honor, full
Yeah.
of like, full of
Yeah.
cherish, full of love. And that's what I began to help other people with because I saw that was what was missing in their lives.
Hmm. Right on. And I guess it's not until they see it themselves that they can actually begin to make the change.
They can't. No, you can't do something about that which you do not know.
Yes.
And what you what you're unconscious of is unconscious,
Yeah.
and you can't change that. So that's what I would do. I would help make people realize their BS systems, help them see them for the lie that they are, and then they would change their own mind about who they are and what they wanted. And when they changed their own mind, their change was permanent. And my poems, they're all spiritual. God gave me a gift to help change people's lives through leadership, through speaking, through coaching, whatever. I've written over 2,000 poems, as I mentioned. We're not just talking one line, we're talking 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20, 24 lines and more per poem. Really deep poems that change people's lives, that get them to see who they are and get them then to realize their truth in one particular aspect per poem. And then the comedy, I use comedy because comedy is what got me through. If I didn't have laughter, like I'm telling you, in some of the darkest moments, if I didn't make myself laugh, I have no idea what would have happened.
Yeah.
I had to laugh. When they say laughter is the best medicine,
Yeah. Peter
they're not
McWilliams.
joking.
Peter McWilliams. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Right
it's
on.
not it's not a joke. So literally.
Nice.
So
I see. You see how we did that? You see how
I did it. Well, I love the old joke. I'm a stand-up comedian. Every time I stand up, people laugh. And
beautiful.
So there you go. I mean, that's the whole point. Comedy changes people, personal development changes people, learning to love themselves, seeing their unconscious BS changes people, and that's what it's about.
Love it. I got 2 more questions for you, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
How do people connect with you? How do listeners connect with you? What's the best way to do that?
Well, there's a few things. As I've mentioned to you, I'm not the biggest fan of technology. So if people actually want to reach out to me, the best way is to literally text me or even call me. My number is 505-340-9878. 505-340-9878. Just say you heard me on the show. I'm happy to talk to you. That's the absolute best way. If they want to find out anything more, I have a website. It's my name, darshanshanti.com. DARS as in Sam, HAN as in Nancy, Shanti, S as in Sam, HAN as in Nancy, T as in Tom, and I as in important.com. They can go there and learn some things. I just whatever they need, but reaching out to me is always best. They can connect with me on Facebook if they want and send me a message. Facebook, just do a search for my full name, Darshan, and then Gabriel Shanti. Gabriel's Gabriel Shanti, and you'll find me. It's a picture of me and Bugs Bunny.
Ah, right on. Beautiful. You and Bugs.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that's how people can get in touch with you. Now, what's the one single most important thought or idea you want the listeners to come away from this conversation with?
Love yourself first.
Love yourself first.
Without a doubt, 100%. See, one of the mistakes that I made, and this will cut a lot of years of suffering off of people's lives, is I loved other people and didn't love myself. I took care of other people and made other people more important than me. I subscribe to the philosophy that Zig Ziglar preached, and I love Zig Ziglar, but I don't subscribe to this bit anymore. You can get whatever you want if you'll only help enough people get what they want.
Yeah.
Well, if you leave yourself out of your own equation, you're never going to get what you want.
Yeah.
I left myself out of my equation. Yeah. Love yourself first, period, end of story.
Boom. That's a masterclass right there.
I agree.
Darshan, I thank you for your time.
Well, I am so honored that you asked me to be your guest. This was a lot of fun, and I hope this blesses and serves everybody who hears it. For people that will never know, could be years in the future. And so I'll leave you. I'm going to talk to the people now, and then I'll say goodbye to you. Whoever who's watching this, bless you. Believe in yourself. Value yourself. Respect, like, love, cherish, and honor yourself. And take care of you. You're the only thing you've got. You can't help other people until you take care of you. Your life will work better in absolutely every single way when you do.
Boom. Love that. So thank you so much, Darshan. I really appreciate that. That's another edition of VisionCast Network, where intention, collaboration, and technology gather in service to humanity. If you've liked this episode, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe and forward it on to somebody that you think would benefit. Take care. Thanks for joining us on another edition of VisionCast Network, where intention, collaboration, and technology gather in service to humanity. My name is Christian Raphael. We'll see you next week. Take care. Have a great day. Blessings.